Good evening and welcome to Closeup. Sustainable tourism is the current buzzword in the tourism sector, but this concept has been in existence for 13 years now between one such tourism operator and landowners in the adventure capital of Fiji. Closeup will tonight explore how 22 Matangalis in the upper reaches of the Navua River are not just earning a decent living, but conserving their natural environment in doing so. The sun slowly begins to peer above us as we embark on our exciting journey. Up the craggy Mandukalo mountain to get to the upper ridges of the Navua River. It's shortly after 7 in the morning and this is no joyride. The stony road makes the 45-minute drive uphill even more challenging. But this goes unnoticed by the team of media personnel cramped in this small bus who have been taken in by the picturesque surroundings and breathtaking views. Rivers Fiji, which specializes in water rafting and sea kayaking tours, is showcasing their successful conservation project in partnership with local communities. For the last 13 years, the company has effectively conserved and protected the Upper Navua River area. Today, we are going to witness just how successful the environmentally conscious project is. Up quite a distance from the foot of the mountain, we are now at the assembly area where the safety gear has been rolled out. 45 minutes later, we have reached the interior of the mountain.
That road continues, and that's one of the very few accesses into the interior of Fiji. Where nobody lives, nobody goes, very rare, it's amazing.
The eager children from the nearby villages already buckling up their life jackets and safety helmets. Even the village elder, as safety is of course essential. After a quick photo opportunity, we make our way down a steep path to get to the watercourse. This is a good 15-minute walk down to where the water rafts await us. Down the slope and right up as we make our way past the lush green shrubs and supple bamboo plants. A territory all too familiar for this village elder and those closely involved in the conservation project. As we get closer, we can hear the gush of the river and from a distance spot the bright yellow water rafts. And as our large groups of villagers, environmental advocates and journalists assemble, the village leader draws from his experience the significance of conserving the environment. Another man, also quite passionate about the environment, describes how versatile yet unique plants that grow near the river are and how equally important was its ecosystem.
And Fiji has some very famous river plants, and we've got two of them right here. We've got this, as they call the Yasiniwai, and that's a very important plant. And over here you have, I think they call it Kandi Kandi, and that is a member like Acalyptus in the same family as the Kalambudindamu.
It's this knowledge which Rivers Fiji hopes these children here will impart to their future generations through conservation. That's exactly why these youngsters from these villages are being made aware of their natural environment.
We don't want them to be brought up in a way where they think that logging is a quick way to get money. And we want them to know how important the trees are and the way they grow. And it's going to get all the wildlife that will go on, and that's what happens.
The adventure begins and off we go. In our next segment, Closeup explores the country's first recognized wetland and river conservation area. Don't go anywhere, that's after the break. It's hard not to get captivated by this spectacular composition of the Upper Navua River Gorge. Apart from the exhilaration pumping into our veins from the water rafting, this great canal is a piece of natural environment seemingly untouched and unspoiled. This part of the Navua River has been recognized as an international wetland site by Ramsar, a convention that provides a framework and deals with particular ecosystems across the world. Wetlands like this are among the world's most productive environments. They are cradles of biological diversity, providing the water and primary productivity upon which countless species of plants and animals depend for survival. It's exactly for this reason Kim Anderson, an environmental advocate at heart, brought to life the concept of sustainable tourism here. The man who's been instrumental behind the conservation of the Upper Navua River says his is a success story where tourism is sustainable ecologically and financially.
Others can see that you can do business, you can have tourism, and it can be sustainable. What we do, we take pictures and leave footprints. We're not taking anything. And instead of a lot of the Mangalis getting logging once in 40 or 50 years, there's a payment every month for the rest of time if they want to take that, which will far exceed any amount of money they can get one time out of trees.
It's a similar sort of feeling Professor Randy Thaman has when it comes to the environment and its protection. For over 10 years, he's been campaigning and encouraging communities to embark on conservation projects to preserve their natural environment.
One of the things we're finding out now is that you can't just protect your forest. You can't just protect your reef. You've got to protect the entire system because it's all connected.
The preservation of this pristine natural environment, though, is a testament to just that. With easier and highly unsustainable options like logging in this area, River Fiji fears this vast ecosystem may cease to exist if the natural resources here aren't managed well. Logging within the proximity of 200 meters from the river poses a serious danger of water pollution into the waterway, which could impact the entire river ecosystem. Coupled with the effects of global warming, this creates a disaster with a rippling effect on many generations to come. Basilio the Konivalu, who's traveled this river for the last 13 years, says, never before has the water level been this shallow. These river stones here are normally submerged or underwater.
We see brown waterfalls coming down because of logging. They change the water color from clear green to brown. And it's also going to affect the coral down in the ocean. Kill the coral, since it's take 100 years for coral to grow. And also the water level has been dramatically keep going down because of low rain. In Fiji it's tropical, so trees just grow back automatically. So there's a lot of changes that we've seen happening.
To understand the calamities of not only climate change, but also the unsustainable use of the environment, Rivers Fiji decided it was the youngsters who needed to be educated.
Because they have to be behind it. If they're not behind it, it'll just fall down. Somebody will get mad and it'll fall down. Those kids are the next Matangali. They're the ones that are going to be doing the leases. They're the ones who are going to be saying to the loggers, no, you can't cut the trees in that area. And that's the next generation. And hopefully I won't be around, but their children will end up on this river and see that there's something here for even their children.
Professor Thaman argues for villages in this community where vast natural resources exist, a buffer zone must be set out for logging.
Really follow the logging code of ethics where you keep a buffer zone so you don't pollute your waters, because people use the waters for domestic purposes. They fish for eels, fish, prawns in the river, and it's really like a bank account that if you treat it carefully and you treat the medicinal plants and all of the garden lands that are in the catchment as if it were a bank account, then you can keep living off of these.
next segment, we will look at ways of how one environmental group helps young villagers make the environmental conscious choice. While this remarkable canyon took millions of years to form, there's no question how our carbon footprint and untenable choices can wipe out its pristine surroundings completely. Visit Fiji says the villagers here weren't offered a sustainable method of using their own natural environment where it could be preserved for younger generations, then the most obvious choice remained. That's why Kim Anderson, instead of relying on donor funds to implement the initiative, had instead converted it into a business where at the end of the day, it's a win-win situation.
It has to be a business because otherwise it's just a philanthropic organization, and that just takes donors and giving. A lot of times with that, there is not a sustainable amount of money input. That comes, it goes. As a business, there is money made. It can grow, and that money can continually support the program, whereas a lot of philanthropy, a lot of donations come and go at the whim. They can have many of programs like Foreign Aid have a 2-year, 3-year program, and then what? It ends. So all that work, we're looking at 50 years, hopefully another 50 years after that.
This essentially means for every raft that enters a river, a certain percentage is paid out to the 22 various Matangalis who communally hold titles to the land lease. But to initially get villagers on board the idea some 13 years ago was no easy task. The Konivalu says changing the mindset and getting people to realize that this venture was sustainable was the ultimate challenge.
And I remember it took a while for them to understand what we're trying to do because, as you know, people are used to the lifestyle of cutting down trees and to get money. So what we're trying to do is to protect the trees and let them grow as they are, and it's good for them in the future generation.
And that's where the Worldwide Fund for Nature, WWF, comes in. Promoting an ecosystem-based management through a holistic approach is how WWF hopes to engage villagers here on this critical issue of sustainable use of natural resources.
We've basically been invited by Rivers Fiji to see if there's any way in which WWF could assist in having more or making a full management approach to the whole conservation of the Upper Navua conservation area.
And one such way these youths can contribute and maintain the preservation of their natural environment is by forming land care groups. According to WWF, this initiative will teach the youngsters the best practices of land use and replanting.
The land care group is a group of youth where we build the capacity in terms of best practices on land use, and at the same time we mobilize them in terms of replanting, and particularly on riparian zones, or what we also call the buffer zones along the streams and the rivers. And also, I think in most of our communities, the community members are not fully aware of the logging code. So it is something that we'd like to bring to the communities here in Navua.
But those acknowledgements so far, local Matangalis are pleased with the sustainable tourism arrangement where pictures are taken but no footprints are left behind.
And none of that could have happened without the help of the villages, the Matangali, Native Land Trust Board, Department of Environment. It takes everybody. It can't just be someone come in and decide that they're going to take over a canyon and kick everyone out. It's a team program.
If this option was not provided to them, the other option would have just been logging. So I'm really glad, and I think I support the initiative. So yeah, and hopefully communities around Fiji, think twice about this, and I'm sure there are options out there. It's not just destroying or disrupting the environment.
Raising greater public awareness remains a key issue.
We are here simply on an invitation by Rivers Fiji, was facilitate the media coverage for the conservation efforts. So I think this is one way, and I think we could be highlighting success stories, and I think the Rivers Fiji is one of the success stories. So just continuing to highlight those success stories would be a good way.
After all, the future of this extraordinary gorge and its surrounding lush environment lies in the hands of these children.
Seeing this area and knowing what the pristine environment looks like, I hope can carry on into your future studies. When you go to the uni, maybe USP, wherever it may be. See Randy again. And hope that you guys can then help us out with Rivers Fiji and some of the other areas that we want to try to get protected as well. Because once it's protected, it will always be protected. But once you let it go to logging, then it's gone forever. It'll never be the same.
As Ralph Waldo Emerson once said, the creation of 1,000 forests lies in one seed. The conservation of our natural environment is a gift to our future generations. For questions or comments on the show, please email them to closeup@fijitv.com.fj. Thank you for joining us. I'm Rachna Nath. Have a safe week.